which is officially baby-friendly. This evidence-based initiative is designed to support mother-baby bonding and optimal infant feeding practices by upholding the 10 steps to successful breastfeeding. San Juan Regional Medical Center, officially baby-friendly, and serving the Four Corners since 1910. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday morning, November the 19th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Micklin, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air in San Juan County, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and everywhere streaming at KSJE.com. Special good morning also to our viewers who are watching our visual radio program, streaming live to the KSJE YouTube channel and Facebook page. We're glad you're with us as well. Coming up in the next few moments, my guest, Superintendent from Aztec Schools, Kirk Carpenter, is here. We'll be talking about a number of issues affecting Aztec Schools, so stay tuned for that, everyone. Then, of course, later on this hour, it is Tuesday, and on Tuesdays we check in with Amber Francisco from the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter and ask about the pets available for adoption this week. If you're watching us on our visual radio platforms, you'll be able to see the pets that we're talking about coming up at 8:50 a.m. this morning. Mick Hess will be here roving with the arts at 9:06. He is playing more Bach cantatas for us on the program, as well as sharing some arts news. And then we start our DJ for a Day programming today on KSJE. We're doing it all week long. We turn the radio station over to some local personalities who are going to host their own show, and we'll start at 10:06 a.m. today with Jennifer Johnson and Catherine Abeta from the San Juan United Way. They are coming in to host their show. They've got a lot of giveaways, a lot of fun planned. That is happening at 10:06, and of course you can listen on the radio, listen online, or watch the visual radio program live on Facebook or on YouTube. Then at 11:06, we'll invite in folks from Theater Ensemble Arts. They'll be talking about their theater season coming up here in San Juan County and playing some great Broadway-themed songs. That's coming up today at 11:06 after the news on KSJE, part of our DJ for a Day event. And then this afternoon, it's the PIO show, we're calling it, the Public Information Officer Show, with Devin Neely, who of course works for San Juan County, and Georgette Allen, who works for the city of Farmington. Lots of fun music and fun planned for that show this afternoon at 2:06 after the news, right here on KSJE. So we hope you'll join us. And of course, the only way to check out these visual radio programs is to connect with us on social media. You can, of course, like our Facebook page. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, of course, and to check out KSJE on Instagram as well. Weather forecast, let's talk a little bit about that. Partly sunny skies today. It's our last sunny day for a while. 65 for a high in Farmington. Then rain developing overnight tonight with a low of 42. Good chance for showers tomorrow with a high of 55 and an overnight low of 36. More chances for rain, maybe snow mixed on Thursday and Friday with highs in the mid to upper 40s and overnight lows in the mid to upper 20s. There is a winter storm warning in effect for the mountains of southwest Colorado. Some heavy snow expected from this system up in the mountains, so do keep your eyes on the road conditions if you are traveling north over the next several days. But that winter storm warning in effect until from 11 p.m. tonight through at least 11 p.m. on Thursday. And in fact, we always say that visual radio can take you places. We can take you to a place where it is snowing right now, and that is the Mad River Valley in Vermont. And right now, the current temperature is 32 degrees. You can see the snow-covered covered bridge there and some other great scenes there. It's a high of 35 today and a low of 27 with snow off and on throughout the day in Vermont. That is what's happening there. Well, here back at home, let me introduce my guest who is with me in the studio this morning, Superintendent Kirk Carpenter from the Aztec School District. Mr. Carpenter, welcome back to KSJE. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Scott. Always, as I say each and every time, a pleasure, because it truly is. It's always nice to be able to come on, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate you sharing what's going on with Aztec Schools for all of our listeners and residents of the Aztec School District. And I guess first and foremost, I have to say congratulations to you and the voters of Aztec Schools who passed your mill levy question in the election in earlier this month, and that really makes a world of difference for you budget-wise, right?
It absolutely does, and we thank everybody, obviously the citizens in our district, the voters. We thank you. You helped us. You were at 3 of our board forums and mill levy forums, not big turnouts, but you also did a lot of stuff behind the scenes for us as well, and we're just very, very thankful. It's such an important part of our district funding. It's $1.3 million a year, but the money that is spent, our overall budget's about $24 million when we think about our operational and federal funding. But to take $1.3 million out of operational to try to spend it on the things we do for mill funding would have been so detrimental, because it would have been about programs. It would have been about larger class sizes. It would have been about making cuts to personnel, and we just were we prepared to do it? We would have had to do it, and so. But it would have been about things that would have cost kids, programs and things, and so we put that out there, not as anyway threats. It was just, this is what this funding means, and not because that's what we use mill money for, but because we would have had to take that money away from operations to pay for the essential things that mill money does for us, and our people stepped up. We were able to use an advertising agency out of Albuquerque to help us, to make sure we sent out a very clear, transparent message in a very structured manner. A lot of planning, a lot of work, and we've never had to do that before, although we've had to do mill levy elections twice, the last 2 mill levy elections, because they failed the first time around each of the last 2 times. And we understand it's tough, but the messaging was so very, very important, and I think that's a lesson that we've learned both times. It's just, there's a different sense from people, and it's not, what a lot of people think in that it's the older voters. It's not. It's really all voters, all ages. The country and the mood of the country has changed. Anytime you mention taxes and those types of things, it's changed, and what we're finding out is you have to be very, very clear on what specific portion of property taxes, how that affects, what effect it might have to the penny. And so we have learned lessons over the last 2 elections, and we're going to share that with everybody as schools go forward, because as the community goes, the schools go, and as the schools go, the community goes, and we know that. And so we were very clear with our messaging, and we're, again, just very thankful.
Well, and I think the results show, it wasn't a close vote, and that must be heartening as well to see so much support from the residents of the district in favor of this.
And that's very true. I think when we did the mail-out election, it wasn't close. The other way. The other way.
Yeah.
But when we did this election where people walked in, we had a very good turnout, but it was about, I think, 51-49. And so people spoke. Mm-hmm. But again, we were very clear in our messaging. And did it, and we covered a lot of mailers. We covered it through radio. We covered it through the newspaper. We tried to saturate Facebook and all the other media that we could to cover everybody. So we feel like we did a very good job. It wasn't cheap in the way we had to do it, but when you put the dollar figure that we spent to cover all the markets and advertise and all the things we had to do with people's time, it was well worth it, because the trade-off for the amount of money it will bring to our district, but more importantly, the things it saved for our kids, it was priceless, because it actually saved a ton of heartache. And again, the programs it saves for our kids, whether it's activities or athletics, the classroom equipment, all that, you can't put a price on that, because that's our future for our children. And just the essentials for our children. Like I said, I've said it before, everything from toilet paper to activity buses, everything in between. So it was absolutely necessary. And honestly, as a superintendent, probably one of the, if not the most important victories we've had, because we need to maintain those things for our children.
Right. And I want to be clear, too, and I was happy to help in all the ways that I could, but my goal was to just make sure the correct information was getting out to your school district residents about this election, and they could vote whichever way they wanted to. But my concern was, because I saw it in the earlier election, that there was some misinformation that was shared on social media, and people did the math wrong, and I think that was one of your biggest frustrations too, was to make sure that the numbers people were using were correct numbers. If they were concerned about the tax, concerned about the arithmetic to get to the mill levy and how much that was going to be, that folks figured that out correctly and had the right numbers, and they were able to make a decision from those numbers.
No, and I think that was the most important message. And in all of our advertising and getting the word out, that's exactly what we wanted to do, is get the right messaging out. And you're exactly right. In the mail-out election, early on in that, people put out the wrong message. And they did, if it's to be said a good job, social media, of putting out the wrong message, they did. And people were able to look at the mail-in and say, if this is what's going to happen. And again, they looked at it and were able to mail that back. And we heard from a lot of people that, well, that's not how I understood it, and so I voted this way. And for that very reason, because some people would say, well, it's not right that you were able to go back out because people voted. They voted on a lot of the wrong issue with the wrong information. And so just getting out the right messaging, and that's what we tried to reiterate, is here's the facts. I call it the Paul Harvey rest of the story.
Right.
And
now
so
you're dating yourself, because not everybody remembers Paul Harvey, but I do, and I'm with you.
Too.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
But that was the most important thing, is exactly what you just said, getting out the right information,
right,
and the facts on it.
Sure. And so this money now will come in, and this will be good for how long will this be in effect for you, that you won't have to worry about this?
6 years.
For 6 years.
And
that really helps, I guess, for planning and maintenance and things like that, now that you know that this stream of revenue is going to come in for these specific uses. You can't use it for salaries and other things, but you can use it for some of the things we've been talking about.
Absolutely. And, it puts us at ease, at least to know we have the revenue to come in to take care of our operations of our district, for the maintenance.
Got to plan a new roof or a new HVAC or something that you know where that money's going to come from.
Bigger items, big things. If we have to do future things like bonding, that will come down the road. I mean, we're still off our bond cycle because we are sensitive about raising taxes.
Sure.
We can't do some of the things we need to do that we're having to put off because of the economic situation.
Right. But if you can't replace a building with a new building, that means you got to maintain it, and that's where this money comes from, right?
Absolutely. And again, our maintenance department was rated the #1 maintenance department for schools our size. They rank them kind of like athletic programs. We're at 4A, and our maintenance department was ranked #1. Grant Banish was the plant operations director of the year in the whole state. So we're utilizing things very effectively and efficiently, and I think that was another message that we tried to get out. People say live within your means. We're doing that. In fact, we're living with less than we used to by over $1 million over 10 years. We used to get a lot more.
That's because of the mill formula and what's happened in the economics around the Aztec School District, correct? That's what you're talking about.
Yes. And so because of assessed property values, because of the way business has gone, there's a reduced populations, less business, bringing in less assessed property taxes. And so we're doing what we can with what we have and trying to be very effective and efficient. And I think our track record speaks for itself, and especially when you look at our facilities, they're older, but they're kept up. And we owe that to our taxpayers. Most importantly, we owe it to our kids and our staff.
Sure. Well, and again, you made the point earlier this morning about how as the schools go, the community goes, and you made it a point that supporting Aztec Schools can be an economic driver and can help attract folks and new residents to a community. And I know Aztec, like every other community in San Juan County, thinks about economic development and growth and attracting new businesses or new entrepreneurs who want to start a business. And so having well-funded schools and well-maintained schools sends a message to the greater community.
Well, when people come to a community, and when I speak of community of San Juan County, they have a choice. And they, fortunately have great choices here in this county because every school district's doing great things. But they're going to choose where they want to go to school. And when they look at schools, they need to be in good repair. If they're in good repair, they're going to make a decision to come to that community. That's another person that's going to live in that community, spend money in that community, live in that community. And so obviously that's where their money stays. So if schools are in good shape, you have an opportunity to gain a family. They're going to buy a house. So it just makes sense where that money is going to stay. So that's why we say, as schools go, the community goes. If you don't take care of your schools, you're not going to get people to stay. And that also means on the academic side. So that's why we work so hard to try to keep and improve in academics. We have a lot of improvement we can do. We're doing a lot of good things at the same time. But you also have to do that on what your buildings look like, how you're taking care, so that you're providing safe schools, you're providing good schools that are appealing on the outside and inside, you're taking care of technology needs so you can provide the updated equipment for students. We have a long way to go there as well. Some of it, Mill can take care of it, some of it's going to take bonds down the road. So there's a lot of, we probably could talk for 2 hours on all that. But the bottom line is it all goes hand in hand. And so that's why I say, as the schools go, the community goes. As the community goes, schools go. It's all a big partnership. And I think it also speaks to, when you look at the biggest employer in a community, it's usually a school system when you look at the total number of people working in a community. And so that's why we need to keep that partnership alive and make sure that we're supporting each other. And it's not easy, and we don't take it lightly with what property taxes do for schools, and we're very thankful, and we have to be careful anytime there's a tax increase. So again, our biggest message first is thank you for the support, and we just need to continue it and do everything we can to be very thankful, take care of what we're doing, use it properly, because we also owe that to our taxpayers.
Sure. Also about the election, I want to ask you a bit about school board members, because there were some board races up in this election, and you'll have some new board members smiling back at you
we will.
Soon.
We will. Lacey Phillips, a longtime person in our district. Her children have gone through the school system. She's been very supportive over the years, done a lot with booster clubs and different groups, the PTOs. She's going to join our school board, so we're excited about that. She has, I think, just listening from the forums, wanting to find ways we can be more interactive with parents in the school district. And we're excited because she's always been one with ways to bring up the spirit. In fact, she led some charges after our incident at Aztec High School, and even before, about how schools can bring up the good culture part of school. So we're excited to have her on board, and she'll be a great addition, known her for a number of years. Representative Paul Bandy, who is currently in the House in Santa Fe for our House of Representatives, he's going to join the school board. Excited about that, and
that'll be interesting perspective, I think, right?
Absolutely, because I think he has the perspective of understanding schools to a certain degree from the representative side, but I think this will give him a real inside look of what school districts and the challenges, and specifically ours. I think every school district has different challenges. Our school district will bring different challenges from the standpoint that in Aztec we're a small, medium-sized district, one of the lowest per pupil funded districts. We don't get a lot of federal funding, so we have our own unique challenges. And so I think this will be a very good opportunity for a member of the legislature to see that, yes, we got a 6% increase last year. However, that same increase is causing us to have to dip into our savings, because that 6% increase took our payroll from 86% of our overall cost to 92%. And it's hard for some people and even the legislature sometimes to see that we gave you more, but you're having to spend more on payroll. Why is that? And I think that is going to be a great opportunity for us over the next year to share and let him gain insight and take back to Santa Fe, because to me that's more of a microscopic look instead of a macro look of what sometimes legislatures have. So we're looking forward to having him on the board and again able to take things back in a much smaller package than when we go to Santa Fe and try to share things, because they are so busy with so many other things. But now he's going to have an opportunity to take things back from a district perspective. And then Roger Collins, our other board member who ran, he's been on the board for several years and won his post. So we had 3 openings on the board, but 2 of them are new, and then Roger back, Mr. Collins. So we're excited about that, and excited just to continue, because stability is important, obviously, for a superintendent, but more importantly for the district.
Right. Well, again, welcome to the new board members and the returning ones as well to the Aztec Schools. And the other thing I want to ask you about, Mr. Carpenter, is, of course, we won't talk again before the anniversary date in December. And I know it's always something that approaches, mm-hmm. and I know you approach that letting students kind of guide what needs to be done on that particular day, or what the district wants to do. Is there anything you want to share to the community of how we can help?
I think this community has been amazing. I mean, the thoughts and the prayers are always still what we need to do. We have tremendous support. We're going to approach that day, the anniversary. It's not anything that's ever going to go away. I think the Aztec strong and the San Juan County strong is something that's always going to be there, needs to be there. But we're going to approach today with kind of a first hour pancake thing for all of our school, and just get kids together, and families need to deal with it the best way they can for their needs, for their students. We'll have the extra support. We will absolutely bring up our therapy dogs. The therapy dogs have been tremendous for us, and we'll make sure we saturate support. And our first responders will absolutely be invited back, their family. They were there for us in time of need, and so that will be a special bond we'll always have. And so we're gonna do what we can to again get through the second anniversary of this, and that'll be something that again that day is always going to be there. It forever changes you, but it's also something that bonds people together with a special bond. We can't change again what happened. But I think you always have a way of how you embrace that and the togetherness that you have. And I think that's something that you never want to go away, because, again, you cannot change what happened on December 7th. But the unitedness that it brought to the community, and specifically in Aztec and throughout this county, that's something also that should not go away either. We need to remember that as a county and as a community, because an evil thing happened, but the love and the camaraderie and the support that happened after that was also something that should be remembered as well, because again, you can't change the event, but right. We have full control after that. And so that's what we'll do, and we'll make sure we make it a day that we support kids, and obviously remember, our 2 students, our heroes, that lost their lives, that saved thousands of others.
That's right.
And that's the most important thing as well.
Very true.
We will go forward.
I know the community is with you, of course, as this date approaches, and with all of the staff and students at Aztec Schools. So I just wanted to mention that and hear what you were planning to do. The other issue I wanted to bring up is Leadership San Juan, which is an organization that we are both a part of, you and I, and you are the chair of Education Day, which was recently held last week? Couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks.
And anyway, this is a day when the class that's in Leadership San Juan gets to learn a lot about education in San Juan County. They hear from teachers, they hear from students, they hear from superintendents, and even from the state education superintendent as well. And so how do you think things went on Education Day?
I think they went very well. I am the lead on that. However, I have to give credit to one of our principals, Mr. Rocky Torres, who really did a lot of work for us this year and helped me again this year. Last year he ended up having to run it, but this year again did a great job for us. So I got to give him a little shout out.
Sure.
It went well. We were able to have the secretary, they say secretary designate. All it is he needs to be confirmed. But he came up and did a great job. I think we have a lot of hope with the new secretary and his staff in our state. So he was the second speaker. We had Dr. Pendergrass lead the day off. She always does a tremendous job talking about issues in higher ed here at San Juan College. We had a teachers panel. They talk about the issues, and it's almost like a speed dating situation where they just talk to this group and then rotate and talk to different groups during the day.
Right.
And they do a tremendous job talking about the different issues. Student panel, we always get to hear from students from different high schools throughout the county. probably the highlight of the day for a lot of groups is they get to hear from students. They take a tour of Rocinante High School, and that seems to be always the highlight. They really get to hear the stories of students. We talk in our district, know our students' stories, and they go down to Rocinante and they come away from there understanding. I think there's sometimes a perception of what an alternative high school is about, but when they get in there and hear the students' stories and understand what really it's about kids getting an education and students loving their kids to make sure they get their education, and that's always a great time. And you were there with us with superintendents. You had to moderate a superintendent's panel, and they can understand some of the challenges in education. Mr. Lorette from San Juan College High School talking about the first graduating class that's getting ready to walk out of that high school, which is amazing to believe. Because
May of 2020. It's coming, right? Yeah.
2020, perfect vision and a perfect year for the first graduating class of the first early college high school in this county, and really the first one of its kind in New Mexico. So it's really amazing story there, and it was just a tremendous day, and always is. And Leadership San Juan has all kinds of days: Education Day, Media Day, which
Media Day is coming up. That's right.
You take care of that. So
with help, yes,
but
that's right.
It's a great time, and it was a great day, and just a lot of great leaders from throughout the county, from many different fields. And they seemed to, from what we at least tentatively got back, they enjoyed the day.
Good.
And so
that's good. Well,
and
things
considered, it was a great day.
That's good. I can't say enough about the Leadership San Juan program. I know we're both fans of it. We've both gone through it. And I would say for someone who's thinking about learning more about San Juan County and wanting to get more involved in what's going on in the county and get some insights into things like education and media and health and human services and multiculturalism and all these different topics, Leadership San Juan is a great way to do that.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's exactly what it says. It's about leaders finding out about many different fields and many different things that exist in our county, and it's all about leadership.
That's true. And again, they'll be looking for new class members for the class of 2021 around May or so. They open applications and things like that for the new class that will start in the fall. So that's how you can get involved, everybody, if you're interested. What else is coming up for Aztec Schools? Students are doing well, and everything else on target?
Everything is. It's hard to believe we're already at Thanksgiving, but
that's right.
We're thankful for that, and just thankful for our hardworking staff, and they are probably ready for a break. It's probably been 4 or 5 years ago that we went to a full week at Thanksgiving. But it's good. It's good for families to be able to travel and do that. And then we turn around and come back for a few weeks, and we'll be off for Christmas break. So, but it's we're cruising. Just last week we had a great assembly, our Tiger Pride assembly, where we recognized our academic achievements and for students that raised GPAs, no behavior referrals, and a nice touch there. We brought the football team in. They were getting ready to head down to Lovington. Had a little trouble down there in the playoffs, but it's always tough when you go south.
That is tough.
Football.
And they are all about football in the South, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
But we brought those guys in, and they were there to help recognize all of our students that have done well academically the last semester, last year, and we recognize them this year. It's kind of you have to go back a semester, but it's always nice to see the number of students that are doing well academically, because that's the business we're in. And a lot of times we have pep rallies and we do those things, but this was the pep rally for the academic side. So that's something that we just got through doing, and of course we'll be coming up on our Christmas concerts and choir concerts for band and choir and some of those things, and even the little guys get to enjoy some of that. So it's always good that we have those activities as we get closer to the holidays, and so a lot of great things happening, and it's always a busy time of year, but never too busy for us to slow down and enjoy some of those great things. And again, we talked earlier about the meal, but those kids will be enjoying those things because we have risers and things like that for them to stand on. So it's a great time of year, and that we don't lose focus to some of the important things that still matter in education.
Very true. Well, and with that being said, we are out of time, Mr. Carpenter, for our monthly spot, but thank you for coming in as always. Good to see you.
Well, always a pleasure. I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe, and everybody out there, a happy Thanksgiving. And again, I think it's appropriate time for the mill levy to fall when it did, because Thanksgiving's here, and again, we're just very thankful thankful to everybody that voted for it, and everybody that voted, period, because that's why we live where we do in the greatest democracy in the world. But we appreciate it, and so happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody out there, and thank you for allowing us to come on and speak every month about Aztec Schools.
You are very welcome. We enjoy that you do, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well.
Thank you.
Kirk Carpenter, Superintendent of Aztec Schools, my guest here on KSJE. And I'll be back with more in just a moment, everybody. The time is 8:39.
Gen Zers are bringing the retro look back through an app, of course. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech, Demystifying the Digital Economy. I'm Molly Wood.
Marketplace Tech is supported by Home Advisor, helping homeowners find the right pros for their home projects. Homeowners can read reviews, book appointments, and check cost guides for any project at homeadvisor.com. And by Fracture, creating